Hello, Marky Dragon, also known as Marcus Eikenberry in real life, and I've got JC here with me. Hello, JC.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Now, JC, the poster in the background kind of shows it a little bit, but JC is from Dual Universe. Yes, there's a nice shot of it. That would look good in anybody's office.
Yeah. The office, if
And
you want, is this is an open space. I show you the
oh,
team.
nice,
So
nice.
that's where we are. It's just where I happen to sit, actually.
Okay,
All right.
okay, yeah, it's
So
all good. So now, Dual Universe is a very big project, and I reached out to you guys because it has some stuff that's really special in it that I wanted to share with my viewers, and so I'm really happy you accepted my request for an interview. And so, first off, Dual Universe is Kickstarter right now.
that's right.
And so, those of you watching on YouTube, there's a link in the description,
Yeah,
and you can hit it there and check it out. Right now, it is about halfway funded,
that's right. We are
and
at the time speaking 242,000.
yeah. So, and that's euros. I'm looking at dollars, but that's okay. It's close.
All right, that's your yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is completely awesome. And I want to say a huge thank you to all the backers. We are halfway through with less than a week already, so this is looking good. But we still need, people to talk about the project basically, because I think a lot of people are just not aware of what we're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully we will get this 500,000 euro bar before the end.
Yeah. So tell me. Now I'm going to show some images to everybody that of the game, but give me kind of an overview of what is Dual Universe. Why should we care?
All right. So I think there are three important things. Actually, the two first are the most important, which are basically that this is an MMO, a massively multiplayer online game, which is a single shard world. That means that everybody plays in the same world at the same time. There's only one universe that we operate. So there's, if you want, one central server that everybody connects to, and everybody plays in the same world, which is a persistent world. So there's a sense of history going on and building together things. And actually, building is literally what it is also about. That's the second point, is that in this world, everything is editable and everything you will see will be player made. So you can build spaceships, cities, orbital stations, outposts, anything you want in this world, with the combinations of voxel technology and also the fact that you can craft elements that will provide functionalities to whatever you build, like weapons, cockpits, engine, and things like that. So it's really a game. I would say that's the third point. It's a game about emergence, a game about
Mm-hmm.
having whatever you encounter in the game, be it the stories or the actual things you will actually see in the game, being the result of the actions of the players themselves. So we will add several tools for people to be able to make this happen on top of the building tools, which are things like the in-game economy, the territory management, or political systems, the organizations, which are generalization of what is a guild, for example, or a corporation. All these
Mm-hmm.
kind of things are also, you may think of those things as building blocks that you can assemble on the social level, if you want, so that you can basically, the pitch of the game is rebuild civilization together, right? It's rebuild. It's about building civilization. It's about emergence and all these political things and ideas, and together, because it's a true MMO. It's only one world shared by everybody at
Mm-hmm.
the same time.
And there
Uh,
is no finish or winning the game. It's
no,
just it's
that's
sandbox persistent forever.
absolutely. So one game that exists that is absolutely great, and looking at what is in your background, I know you know very well, is EVE Online that illustrates
Mm-hmm.
this concept beautifully, and we're a big fan of EVE Online. So does it mean that Dual Universe is like EVE Online? That's the same thing. It's very different, in fact, but we like a lot of the ideas that are in EVE Online, and we think that they are really great. So it's a good example because they have a single shard world also where you see emergence going on. You see these big political events, these big battles, and all those things. So there's a bit of that we want to capture in Dual Universe. And on top of that, we had I would say the Minecraft side, if
Yeah,
you want.
yeah.
even so, it's not all about cubes. You can make any shapes you want. So the technology is more advanced, but it's about building stuff. It's about creating the environment you're going to play in. It's about planets. You can land on them. You can actually explore them. Everything is. You have an avatar. You play in first person. I mean, everything is grounded. You
Eve
live.
players will like to seeing their character. That's
Well,
the biggest one of the biggest complaints in
walk,
Eve is when am
walking
I going to see
station,
my character?
walking in station, for example,
Right,
right?
right, right.
Well,
Yeah.
this is I think hopefully we make one step further into the big story of MMOs, trying to make a new technology, because it's all about technology, trying to solve these difficult problems. And we've been working for 3 years of hard R&D to make this happen, and we have shown videos to demonstrate what we have today. So we want to convince people that we have this technology, and now we are in pre-alpha, so all this is very early, but we have the technology bedrock, if you want, on top of which we are going to be able to build all the gameplay we are talking about. So that's where we are. And we take inspirations from many games because we're gamers. We play those games. We understand what is fun and what is not. We will make mistakes, of course, but we will adapt. We want to talk with the community a lot, as we are doing right now, or as we do on the forums, on the Twitter, Facebook. So yeah, that's where we are.
That sounds pretty good. I know that of course, Eve has been hugely successful with their hardcore style and everything, and Minecraft has been hugely successful with its creativity and the ability to do things that were never intended by the creators of Minecraft. And so marrying those two things together actually sounds pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And then you add in, so one of the comparisons that a lot of people give is No Man's Sky. And so No Man's Sky is kind of known for being procedurally generated space where you got to actually, I don't even know what you do in the game. I haven't played it, but I understand the concept that all of this stuff has been created and it can go out infinity if they keep exploring and stuff like that. And so how does that, because you're doing procedurally generated space as well.
Yeah.
So how does that all fit in?
All right. So, well, I used to say, if you compare No Man's Sky to Dual Universe, there are two common points. It's a sci-fi game, and there are planets that are procedurally generated. The rest is completely different. Every aspect, I think, of the game is going to be totally different, starting with the fact that we are MMO, as I said, single shot MMO. Yes, we have procedurally generated planets, and that's the way to go. You don't want to actually handmade, huge amount. I mean, the planets we have in those videos, they are 100 kilometers in radius. This is hundreds of thousands of kilometers of space that we would have to do. I mean, that's not the way to go. You do procedural generation, and because it's generated procedurally, we could have millions of planets. I mean, it's not a technical issue. Of course, we don't store the planets in the servers or on the client. We just store the differences, the things that you have edited. So it's economic. It doesn't cost to create more things. The only question about planets is biomes. So what are the building blocks that the procedural generation will be able to assemble to create different environments, different forests and so on. So this is called typically biome. That's the name. We have made a few biomes for the moment. We are going to make more of them. As I said, I mean, we are in pre-alpha. And then when we have more biomes, we will be able to recombine them to create different planets with different size, with different gravity, with different types of environment, where you will have different types of forests, desert environment, mountain, top of mountains with snow and things like that. So we still have a lot of work to do on that. At the moment, you can see in the videos, we have the meadow, we have the forest, and we have a rocky desertic planet. These are the biomes we have developed. So we will do more of them, and we will introduce them. This is very important to understand that this is an MMO. It's meant to have a first release that we hope to be able to make at the end of 2018. That's the goal, but that's not going to be the end. It's not like we ship and that's it. It's an MMO, so there will be expansions that will be
Mm-hmm.
free expansions, like in Eve, that will add more and more content, like more biomes, so that if somebody discover a planet that has never been seen before, the algorithm will be able to use these new biomes to create new things. So there will be constantly new things on the content on the biomes, for example, but also on the gameplay. Certain things we talk about because we want to talk about the vision of the game will not make it to the initial release. They will be coming in further expansions.
Mm-hmm.
One good example is Stargates. We like to talk about Stargate because it allows to understand how the size of the universe is going to grow as players build more and more Stargates and explore more and more. This is not going to be in the first release of the game, but we will add it through expansions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important to communicate well and to be able to communicate the vision where we want to go in the long run, but at the same time to draw a clear line between what's going to be in the first release and what would come later. So that's what I will try to do all the time when we discuss,
Are you
possible
gonna call the Stargates Choppa Eyes?
chopper eyes.
Choppa Eyes? That was the Jaffa in Stargate, the TV show
Oh,
and the
right.
movie.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Um,
we'll see. Well,
yeah.
you can call them the way you want, actually. That's the beauty of Sandbox.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
but there's a lot of things we could talk about the Stargate
Hmm.
vision. I mean, what we want to have in
So,
terms of
so
gameplay. But yeah,
okay. So Stargates indicate travel and everything, and I assume that the reason that there's other planets is because we're going to travel to them. There's going to be resources there or
correct.
whatnot, and they might be rare, they might be common. Maybe set up a home base on a on a new planet, or mine, destroy the
Abs-
environment and haul everything back.
well, yeah.
So how in depth is this kind of transportation kind of gets into economy,
Mhm.
and so in comparison, some games there's no risk in getting something from point A to point B,
Mhm.
but like in Eve Online. You have great risk
Oh yeah.
in getting materials from one location to another. Sometimes the risk is just insane, and other times it's not so much.
Mm,
But that all affects the economy and the costs and everything.
absolutely.
So, two things: is there risk in the game?
Yeah. Well, let me answer more, in more details about what you just said.
Okay.
Uh, all you said about the economy, the need to transport, and the potential risk will be in the game. That's exactly how we see things. So markets are localized; they have a physical location that will be more or less into secure areas or in more dangerous areas. Transporting some very needed goods from a secure to a non-secure area will there will be risk associated to that, and then you can sell them for more money. So there's of course, an incentive to do so. So this is the same kind of dynamics because markets are real. And they are physically located. So if I want to sell something on a market, I need to bring this something to this market, basically to the containers that are going to be attached to
Mm-hmm.
the market, so that I can actually create a sell order or buy it or sell it instantly if there is a buy order that is waiting for it. So this
Mm-hmm.
is the same, sell buy order mechanism with an equilibrium between supply and demand that is extremely important to get the prices right. And that can only work really well in a single shard world if you think about it. So that
Mm-hmm.
you need all this dynamics and sideway interactions that are creating the equilibrium. So all this will be there. Markets are physically located. If you buy something on a remote market, you have to go and get it, right? So that might be a risk if you buy in a cheap, something not very expensive, but in a dangerous area, or maybe in an area you cannot easily access. So this will all factor. Um, I think there are two differences that are interesting compared to Eve, for example, which are the fact that markets are physically created by players. So there will be something like a market unit that you can actually craft or buy and then deploy in your construct. Be it a base on the ground or some orbital station, for example, but you actually deploy it where you want. So it's not like markets will be in predefined locations. So that creates a lot of possibilities to specialize markets in depending on where they are. Also to have competition between markets. Because they
Mm-hmm.
don't have the same fees, for example. So some of them will be more favorable to certain types of goods. And so there will be a dynamic, I think, quite interesting of market aggregation, winner take all, where you will see markets getting more and more dominance in certain areas, either economic area or physical area. So this
Mm-hmm.
this is one aspect. The danger you have in transporting things will be linked obviously to PvP. So we have been thinking a lot, and we are not done. There's still a lot of thinking to go uh, about the balance between PvP and non-PvP. One of the things we have decided is that there will be a safe zone that will be around the arc ship, which is the point where everybody starts from. This is quite
Mm-hmm.
unique also because we have this continuous single shard technology. We can have everybody starting from the same point. And if there's a lot of people there, we will automatically adapt the load. So we're confident we can actually do that so that every player starts from the same place. That's the plan. And so around this place, which is the Ark ship, which is the ship that brought you there, that's the backstory. We can talk about that if you want. But you arrive in this ship, and around this ship there will be a 20 kilometers more or less, a zone that is completely safe, non-PvP. So nothing bad can happen to you. No one can take your stuff. No one can damage your stuff. So this is it. And once you step out of this safe zone, then you enter into a more PvP area where you have to be careful and you have to know what you're doing. Um, this
Tell me
safe
about
zone,
death.
yeah. All right, death is
What's the penalty?
Uh, you lose everything you had on yourself. If you were in a ship, it's destroyed. Your ship is gone. You just wake up in what we call a resurrection node. At start, and we will see what we do for the initial release or what gets into an extension. But the vision is that you will be able to craft or buy what we call resurrection nodes, which are again elements that you can deploy wherever you want, and that you can use to set up points of respawn. And the rule is that wherever you killed, you respawn in the nearest resurrection node, not the one
Okay.
you want, but the nearest one. Otherwise, it will be used for teleporting. So, but
Oh,
the
yeah.
nearest one. And I think this is a very interesting, strategic addition to the game dynamics, because if you're attacked by a fleet that attacks your planet, for example, probably one of the most important thing to look at is where are those resurrection nodes? Because if you can take them out, well then the people you're going to kill will most likely be sort of sent back to probably a very long distance, and you effectively take them out of the combat. So resurrection nodes, I think, is a very interesting mechanics we will introduce, probably in an expansion, and which is the first version of it is that you have resurrection nodes inside the arc ship. So the default is you respawn at the arc ship,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but it will get
Okay.
richer and kind of interesting.
And
And
is these
they are very
resurrection?
expensive. They are very expensive to craft. So there will be,
Okay.
military grade assets that you cannot, have 10 of them. I mean, it will be a big investment.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And
like
and
like
these resurrection nodes, are they so if I craft one and place it, I may spawn there again, but do other players have a chance of spawning there again, or it's personal?
No, it's personal unless it's an organization resurrection node, so that
Okay.
you have access to it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a possibility to extend it. The same thing for a spaceship. Well, it could be yours or it could belong to your organization that happens to give you a function. This is the technical term. If you go on the dev blog about organization, you will see all that. So you can have a function in the organization that will give you the right to fly and use this particular ship, for example. There is a fine-grained way by which players will be able to define basically, who has the right to do what. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
this is what
Yeah.
we call the right and duty management system.
Yeah, so I've actually heard you talk just a little bit about that before, or I saw it in one of the videos. The access rights, for personal items, corporations, guilds, whatever you want to call them. So how far out can we take that? I mean, can we? Uh, well, I don't know. I mean, big organizations, you have a lot of different access levels
Mm-hmm.
on things
Right.
typically. and a lot of different trust levels. And so, you're envisioning that we're going to be able to get that detailed?
Yeah, and the trick is that you don't want to have to micromanage all those things. That would be a nightmare, right? So
Right.
if you have to explicitly set for every possible asset in your huge space station who has the right to what. So there's a need for something a bit more sophisticated, and this is what this right and duty management system is about. And like I think almost everything else we're trying to do, we look at this by thinking about simple building blocks, simple concepts that are expressive enough so that you can recombine and build things that are very expressive and very powerful. So in the case of the right and duty management system, make it very short because it can get a bit complicated, but the idea is that every asset has an owner, be it a spaceship or a container or territory, actually, anything has an owner. And for this asset, you have a certain number of things you can do with it, right? We call them powers. Like your container, you can open it or you can see what's inside. Ship, you can fly it, right? So there are things you can do, and for every one of those powers, you will be able to set a list of tags that defines, well, tags like your keys if you want. Then you can give those tags, some of those tags, to other people. And if you happen to have a tag that matches the tags that are in the list of the given power of the asset you're trying to actually use, then that's good. You can actually do this. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So it's basically about putting tags to decorate your assets powers, so the kind of things you can do with your assets, and distributing the tags to people. And to avoid micromanagement, there will be several mechanisms. One of them being hierarchical tags. So you can have a tag that encompass several other tags. So if you
Right.
give a tag at this level of the
Groups.
hierarchy, that's right. So implicitly give all the tags underneath. So you could have a tag that would be, I don't know, weapons. So that will actually implicitly designate every possible weapons. So there will be way to actually give access to things at different granularity.
Hmm.
And within organizations, you will be able to define functions like, a president or a chief of combat or I don't know what, whatever you want actually. And these functions will be, in fact, defined by the tags they have. So the kind of rights that are implicitly given to you when you are actually given that particular function. Uh,
Okay.
Organizations are also another example of this philosophy that we create simple building blocks that you can assemble. So in the same way, we try to look at a sort of generalization of what is a guild, a corporation, and different things that exist in other games, so that you could have something that you can customize if you want or specify into a democratic nation or into a dictatorship or into a corporation for business or into a guild of pirates. And so this is the same idea here, that we're trying to make something that is a template that you can fine
Hmm.
tune the way you like.
Hmm. Will these template types or whatever will they be transferable? Like if one person is really good at organizing these type of things and
Hmm.
say, here's a whole corporation package of beginner rights and everything to get you started. Will there be availability of transactions like that?
Selling you like selling a particular template of organization.
Yeah.
I think people will probably do that by themselves and on forums. What we are going to do is most likely that we will provide some basic templates. If you don't want to
Hmm.
care about building organization, it's a gameplay in itself actually. So if you don't care about that, and you say, well, I want a democratic system or corporation, I want the standard stuff. There will be a predefined template, and we could very well extend those templates, adding popular designs that are that people like, so that you get more and more possibility to start with that you could then use and maybe change a little bit, but you know
Hmm. T- t-
making it something you can trade in game. I don't know. We haven't thought about that for the moment.
yeah. Tell me about politics and power. Are
Now,
we going to if my neighbor pisses me off, can we go to war with him?
the question whether there will be a formal thing as war, like there is in Eve, for example, is not settled. So, whether it's implicit, like you are in war, in a war, or whether it's something that exists in the game. Now about politics, um, within an organization, you have basically two different kind of people. You have the legates that are sort of the funders of the organization or the owners, if you want, and you have the members, which are could be legates at the same time, right? There is no, it's
Mm-hmm.
not or, it could be and or. And the legates have all the powers to actually shape the organization in the way they want, to create new functions or to validate the new members or ban them, things like that. And the way they actually do things is by voting, but there is a delegation mechanism that will allow certain legates to be empowered by others to vote, possibly having full rights, so actually decide immediately. Or on the contrary, you could say, no, 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 we want everybody to be constantly asked about every decision. So, well, there's no way to,
And
to hijack power.
is there
So
a way to be a dictator?
well, yeah. If you either you start like that and everybody is happy with it and nobody questions it, and your organization is growing and everybody likes it, you will be a de facto dictator. Or
Mm-hmm.
maybe you enter into a more democratic structure and you convince the different legates to delegate their power to you. So after some time, you end up being in full control. You could always delegate for a certain time, for a certain set of votes. So there will be,
Mm-hmm.
ways to, frame the kind of things you give. But
Mm-hmm.
it's possible. It's possible that you talk people into giving you full power, right? And you become the
Yeah.
emperor.
Yeah.
Good luck, because people are not naive. People are not going to be easy to convince, I suppose. And so, well, that's part of the emergent gameplay. We are going
Mm-hmm.
to give the tools, and people do what they want with them. And that's politics. That's about politics, sharing the
Mm-hmm.
power, getting people to convince people, sorry, to get you the voting rights, basically.
Yeah. So another thing I've heard of is territories.
Yes.
What are I mean, I know what a territory is by definition, but what does it
Yeah.
mean in the game?
That's right. I mean, yeah. In practice, in the game, a territory will be roughly hexagon that is on the surface of a planet. So the planet is split into all these hexagons, and you can claim one territory by deploying a territory unit on it.
Mm.
Territory units, again, are going to be also very expensive. It's not something that would proliferate easily. Um, that is expensive. I don't know the price. This is the market who's going to set the price, but it will contain rare materials in the recipes that are involved in building one, right?
Okay.
So it will be expensive because it's rare, at least for that reason. Um, and so you deploy those territory unit, and then the territory becomes yours or your organization, depends on who is doing the action, in name of what you're doing the action. And once you have done that, the territory becomes an asset. So as I said before, an asset has some powers. So certain things you can do with it, like on the territory, mining it, or creating a construct on it, like a new building, or even entering it. And you might actually set rights associated to these things by setting tags and all the mechanism I mentioned before. So you see, we use the same mechanism of right and duty management system to deal with the questions of what you can do on the territory. And that's a way, for example, to control who's going to mine the particular territory or who is going to be able to build stuffs on this territory. So you don't want to
Mm-hmm.
have random things popping out.
Right.
So that's the core vision of the territory, is that is to make sure that you can control your neighborhood a little bit and have something that you share with friends, basically,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or people
So
you trust.
you mentioned building things,
Mhm.
and so tell me a little bit about the side of building things. How do you create things like a building? I could see putting blocks together or
Mm.
whatnot, but a spaceship. How do you build propulsion? How do you
All right.
what does that look like?
Okay. So when you build something in Dual Universe, there are basically three stages. The first is that you're going to assemble, uh, I would say, raw materials or materials to sculpt a shape for it. So this is done with the voxel technology, and we will provide tools to be able to symmetrize, to make symmetries.
Mm-hmm.
Also to create things that are not just cubes and spheres, but lines, for example, connecting different parts. So you will basically you will be able to sculpt a shape. And on top of this shape, which can be very very big, like the space station you might have seen in some of our videos,
Mm-hmm.
this is huge and mostly made with voxels. And on top of those shapes, you will be able to plug what we call elements that are functional units that you can either craft or buy, and that will provide functionality like an engine or a weapon or a cockpit or a radar or a container, things like that. So this is the second stage. These elements are given by us. They are, I mean, the design of those elements are made by us, and the kind of elements you can expect are decided by us. This is where we do the game design. There will be, for example, different types of engines and things like that with different properties. So it will be about trade-offs. You cannot have it all. If you want a faster ship, it should not be too heavy, so
Right.
maybe it cannot have so much, containers with the fuel in it because that's heavy. And so if you want autonomy and speed, now you have to make a choice. This kind of design balances. The third stage, once you have done that, is to script all these elements together, which you will be able to do with Lua. But if you're not a Lua scripter, there will be an automatic configurator that will look at your ship and, for example, build a Lua script that will take care of, managing the balance of the thrust of the different engines, so that basically your ship can fly. So there
Mm-hmm.
will be things that can be done automatically. It's a bit like the equivalent of the templates, for the organizations. So if you don't care about programming in Lua or you don't want to do any of this, you don't have to. But if you want, you will be able to actually go deep into how your construct is actually controlled, or how you're going to coordinate different elements inside your factory, or things like that. So it opens doors to, perhaps the best way to look at this is a bit like modding within the game. You can modify things.
Mm-hmm.
And the important thing to understand is that there is actually a fourth stage, which is that once you're happy with all this, you can actually make a blueprint that you can use in a factory to mass produce, provided that you have all the raw materials and the
Mm-hmm.
necessary components. But you can mass produce your construct, that is your ship or anything you want, and sell them on the markets. So what does it mean? It means that as a player, if you don't know anything about building a ship, or you're not interested or anything, you can just go on the market and buy the most popular ships and just do what you want with it. This
Mm-hmm.
is very important to understand, because the markets are going to allow players to specialize. And well, if you want to take the example of EVE Online, not everybody is an industrialist. But if you don't want to do this, you can just buy the ships and go wage
Mm-hmm.
war, and that's all fine. So same idea. Um, so you don't need to be an expert in ship design, or you could concentrate on certain aspects. For example, you could say, what I like is to create beautiful shapes for the ship, but I don't know anything about engine trade-offs and all the things. So I create, the nice looking shape, and then some other people, and I sell that, right, as a blueprint, and some other people are going to add the functional aspect. Or I like to build a whole ship, but I don't like to mass produce it. So I just sell blueprints, copies basically, that people can then use. People who are specialized in industry can use to mass produce it,
Mm-hmm.
and so on and so on. So it's about specialization with the markets, which I
What
find
about
very cool.
what about so with the it's Lua is a scripting language.
Mm.
Uh,
Sorry, sorry. Yes, Lua is a scripting language. It's a fairly easy one. I mean, very easy one actually. Um, it's used a lot in video
says the
games.
programmer.
Yeah, well, no, I mean it's a programming language. I mean, if you don't know anything about programming, well, you could learn it. It's kind of fun. There are tons of wonderful tutorials. I mean, it's not so complicated, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and it's nothing to do with like C++ or things like that. So I don't know if I could give an example. No, I think it's pretty easy. Every element of your ship will have a name, so you can actually refer to it in your script with this name. And for example, an engine would be engine number 23, so it will be engine 23, then dot, then set thrust, for example, and
Hmm.
then you put the value of the thrust intensity, right? And that would just set it.
Okay.
It's
So
could be fun.
yeah, I can see that there will be some people who really get into that, and other people that'll look at that and say no way.
Yeah, sure, and that's
And
fine. You don't
but
have
that
to.
they're the both ends of it. So the people who are really into the scripting are not necessarily going to be builders,
Yeah,
or designers or whatever.
absolutely.
They're going to be all about the functionality, not about the beauty of it or the
Yeah,
practicality.
yeah. And
Um,
in an organization, you may want to have these different types of people inside the organization, so you have all the different skills.
with a scripting language, how would something like scripting an automated process for something to be done
Mm.
apply to an item in the game? And then, if that can be done, could someone not create an automated bot or something like
Yeah.
that?
Okay.
Uh,
So there will be restrictions to what can be done with the script. For example, I don't think it's a good idea that you could mine automatically in large
mhm.
volumes because that will raise the amount of materials available in the game, but that will actually kill any benefit for beginners to go and mine because they will be
Mhm.
so underproductive, and
Right.
that would be a bad idea because I think as a newcomer in the game, I don't say you will necessarily mine, but that's something that should be an option for you, to start making a bit of money. So this is an example, for example, of the things we will probably not allow to automate. That means basically that there will not be mining units in constructs that you could activate. Or the other directions we could go is to make it extremely not efficient. So you could automate certain things, but it's always so much better to have a human doing it. That could be the
Mm.
case for fighting. I mean, weapon control.
Mhm.
You have a weapon on your ship. What is best? Do you want to have a crew with 50 people, all of them, taking care of the different weapons, being super effective, or automate it with a script? But then the weapons are very, I mean, not so effective by a factor that makes it obvious
Right.
that it's better
Right.
to have humans on your side.
Yeah.
You know, these kind of things we're still thinking about it, so there's still a lot of work to do on that. And if only at the beginning scripting is about piloting the ship, that would be already a lot of fun and a lot of possibilities. Yeah, I always give the example, of Starbuck in Battlestar Galactica. I'm sure you know this great series where
Mhm.
she's actually able to turn the Viper when there's somebody chasing her, so that she can actually face the guy and shoot at him, right? So this maneuver could be something people would be able to script. We won't do
Mhm.
it, so it would be something really cool to do. Uh, just an example. So we'll see how far we can, push that um, about automation, but we have to, remember that this is a multiplayer game. It's about humans playing together. It's not
Mhm.
about,
Mhm.
automating everything.
So let's change focus here just a little bit. We've only got a little bit of time left, and uh, tell me about the team that is developing this and the inspiration behind what brought all of you together to do this.
Well, it's kind of a long story because it's about now 3 years that we are on this. It started with me actually building a prototype of the server technology. I have a background in science and technology. I did actually a PhD in robotics and AI. I directed the AI research lab, so this is my background. And I am a big gamer. I played Eve a lot. I played Minecraft, and I started to think, could we try to actually make this old dream, of having everybody in the same world and building stuff and so on. So I designed this prototype, and it convinced me that it was feasible, that it was working, and we actually started the company from there. And then I started to recruit people. extremely talented people, and we have a fantastic team today of 25 people that actually helped to transform this prototype into a working system that could become a game. We are now at the pre-alpha stage, as I said many times. So we have the technology, which is, I think, the most important thing when you
Mm-hmm.
think about this claim we're making. And we have a build also of the building, a bit of the building gameplay. The scripting is done also, and this kind of things is in place. But we have to develop most of the rest of the gameplay. So that's what we are starting. That's also why we are on Kickstarter to help us to get the feedback from the community and the support from the community to help us make that happen. So um, in the team, we have people from the game industry, people that come from Ubisoft, from Sony, from various, French game companies. We also have people that come from the tech industry, like Apple, for example, or people from Chauffeur Privé, the French competitor to Uber, for example, that are working, for example, on the server scalable technology. So not everybody is necessarily, just about gaming. We have a lot of very complex technologies. So we have a different set of people in the team. We have also great artists that have been, the lead artist has been working, for example, on planetary rendering already before. What can I say? Well, and we're all passionate about this project, and I think a lot of gamers also are. This is, as I said, is a dream. I think, well, not everybody has that. I suppose some people just don't like the concept. I am totally fine, but a lot of people, from what I've heard, uh, really want to have this very open sandbox where you can
Mm-hmm.
build
Mm-hmm.
things like that and become anybody you want and create a story for yourself. Um, you know, if you want to live like an hermit in an underground cave, 1 kilometer underground on a remote moon, just do it. And, and that is very exciting. The fact that you
Yeah.
can, you can
Mm-hmm.
do those things. It's a
Mm-hmm.
possibility. Technically, you will be able to do those kind of things.
It looks like the things that excite me about it is one is that it looks like it'll be very complex and hard,
Hmm.
and not hard as in like I don't want to play it because it's hard,
Mm,
but as in it's a good challenge, and
yeah.
so
One
I'm
of the
looking forward to that.
one of the design principle we try to make happen is that you can try a little bit everything. You can try a bit of building, you can try a little bit of economy, and so on and so on. It's okay. You can try. You get a taste of it, but you can also go very deep inside it and can really become skilled at it. Really, I mean, really skilled, not just the skill system, but being an expert. That means that you have a value in a team because you bring this
Mm-hmm.
expertise with you, right? And that's fantastic. So we want to make that kind of thing, for example, scanning to locate materials. We want to make it very, complex. So you have to know different techniques and different ways to look at the problem. So this is the spirit we are in. Deep game where you can, you know, become an expert in different gameplays, and you don't have to be an expert in everything. Perhaps you can't even, but
Mm-hmm.
it's there. It's there for you to go and enjoy the challenge. We want things to be achievements that you feel like the first time you build a ship with your hands, if I may say, and you go in space with it. This is the big moments. So this is the spirit we want to have.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's all very exciting, and
Thank
so
you.
I think that I mean I for one I've already put my pledge in,
Well, thank you very
and
much.
yeah,
Thanks.
I think that I mean everything to me looks like it's on the right track
Mm,
and that you're going good places with it. And I'm very very careful about Kickstarters that I fund anymore
yeah.
because all of us who've done multiple Kickstarters know that we've had issues with some of them, and but in this, given you guys have 3 years of development already into it, you have a good solid team. Obviously, you've already put up your own money
Yeah.
into this and everything, so you're invested. It's not like just a cash grab where you just take it and run.
No.
And so,
And
um,
remember that our business is going to be subscription based, like EVE Online, with the
mm,
equivalent of Plex. So we are aiming at customer satisfaction in the long run. So we certainly don't want to ship something and take the money and sorry, it's not
Yeah,
good. See
yeah.
you later.
I really
It
like
would
hearing that.
it would kill our business, especially since a lot of early players will be benefiting from the free time of play that is included in any of the pledges. So
Hmm.
we will not make any money. This would be absurd. So we understand also the skepticism, and I mean that's why we want to be also very transparent. We communicate a lot. We're doing a meetup next week, actually in Paris. So sorry, it's in Paris. We can't be everywhere, but
Yeah, so if you're watching
uh,
from Paris, go Google it.
there's a meetup. You can register yourself.
Hmm.
There's more than 50 people already. So we're gonna make it big so that people can see it and they can actually see with their eyes that this technology we're talking about is there. It doesn't mean that we will necessarily succeed. There's a risk that's obvious, but we want to be transparent and to be honest with everybody to show what we have. We're ready. If you want to come and see us,
Hmm.
we're happy. And we were at PAX, we were at Gamescom, where we had a lot of people actually able to test the game and see, well, the pre-alpha, right? So test where we are and see for themselves that we have at least what we say we have. We have.
Yeah, that's really great, and I'm excited to hear that you have a Plex type
Yeah.
system. Given my background with that, having been a business partner with Eve for
Mm.
13 years now,
Yeah.
one of the great things about a system like that is that it allows people who have money to spend more to gain more currency or whatever in
Yeah.
the game in a legitimate fashion. And on the flip side, those people who have a lot more time than money
Mm.
to play the game, earn the money in the game, and pay for their subscription.
Yeah.
Both are happy.
That's a beautiful model, and I think it's still not totally understood by many people. It's not obvious. I mean, it's not so simple, in fact. But it means that if you're very active in this game, there is a good chance you will play for free, right?
Yep. Hmm.
Not a guarantee because the price of the DAC, that's how we call them, or the Plex in Eve, is not something fixed. It's something evolving through the supply and demand. So no guarantee,
Right.
but in principle there's this possibility. And in effect, in Eve, well, I played Eve for many years, trading stuff and not and
Hmm.
buying
Hmm.
and buying my plexes. So effectively, I didn't pay any subscription. Not me, but somebody else did for me, right, through
Right.
the
They
the
paid for
Kickstarter.
you.
So
Yeah.
it's perfectly sound from the company point of view, and it has a lot of benefit. And I will encourage people who are, not convinced by the subscription model to look at the positive side of this. That there is this DAC system, so like the Plex, that allows them to play for free. That it
Hmm.
also acts as a way to guarantee the quality of the game, the quality of the support. That we can finance the company in a healthy way. That we guarantee intrusion-free gameplay, where we don't, have to tweak it in some way so that people have to give us money at some point to really enjoy the game, right?
Hmm.
So it's a clear contract. There is this subscription, and then you are in dual universe, and that's your world, and we are not going to interfere. All
Sounds
this,
excellent.
yeah, this is important to stress, I think. Yep.
Hmm.
So,
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm disappointed that it's 2018.
uh, me
But,
too, me too.
that's just the way it is. So, anyway,
We'll
okay,
try
so
our best.
everybody who's watching, there's a link in the description. So click that, check it out to get to the Kickstarter. And, you don't have to put in a big pledge. It's I forget what the pledge dollar amount is to get into the game, but it wasn't very big. I did $50,
That's
so
great. Thanks a
um,
lot.
yeah, that
If
gets me in.
everybody does $50, we're good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can go a lot higher. There's a lot of extreme packages in there, but
At some point, you
you
get
know,
lifetime subscription, which I think is also very sexy. And also, you have access to alpha and beta.
mm,
Alpha is, I mean, beta is starting at, well, I'm going to speak in euros, 60 euros if you're not early bird. And
hmm,
the alpha is starting at 120 euros if you're not early bird. So
yeah,
it's in line, with the kind of prices you can see on
for people who
Kickstarter.
want to be in early,
Yeah, and
and those who don't want any trouble, just wait. Just get the package that'll get you in when it releases.
that's all fine. Everything is
Yep,
fine.
yep.
All
So
right. Well, thanks a lot.
okay, JC,
you
I
for
really
it.
appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Thanks.
And yeah, I definitely am looking forward to playing the game, and
You know
hope to
what?
see many great things.
You know what? Me too.
Yeah.
That's and that I think is also important. I want to play that game.
Okay. And once again, everybody, link in the description. Check it out now.